Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you. And I just bought me a new knife, and I just wanted to go over that knife with you. I'm so excited, and this is not it. So you guys probably thinking, why is Omar bringing out the Spyderco Swayback? Didn't he do this video yesterday? What is this, Groundhog Day? That's absolutely correct. It is Groundhog Day. No, it's not. I did the video yesterday on this knife, and I forgot to do the size comparison, so I thought I would do that for 1 minute of this video. So let's take a look. Here we go. This is the Spyderco Swayback size comparison. So here it is up against the Benchmade Anthem. There you go. As you can see, the Spyderco Swayback is a fairly large knife. It's the same exact size as a Benchmade Anthem. It's also the same size as a Zero Tolerance 0562. So you can get a better idea of just how big the knife actually is. Let's put these knives away. And to end the size comparison, I'm going to do this. Let's go ahead and put it up against the ever-famous Sebenza 21, replaced by the Sebenza 31, right? Okay. And then, how about this? In the middle, we do a Kershaw tumbler. So there you have it, the size comparison for the Spyderco Swayback. You got a large knife, you got a medium knife, and a small knife. That might just pretty much help you out so you guys can tell the size of this knife here. So there you have it, the size comparison for the Spyderco Swish. Marcin Swish Swayback. It's not sleaze, or slize. It is Swish. And I know that because I got tired of mispronouncing his name too, that I actually found Marcin Swish online, and I asked him how you pronounce his name, and he told me. It's that simple. So when all else fails, ask the guy. And Marcin Swish is the guy. So let's go ahead and do the video on my brand new knife. I'm going to go ahead and bring it out right now. This is a custom piece. Just going to get an overall quick look at it, and then I'll talk about the knife. There it is in all its beautiful glory. It's just an absolutely beautiful knife. And before I even talk about this knife, let's go ahead and get these size comparisons out of the way before I screw that up. So here we go again. Here it is up against the Zero Tolerance 0562. As you guys can see, this is not a large knife. Here it is up against the Benchmade Anthem. And both these knives, the 0562 and the Benchmade Anthem, they pretty much tower over this beautiful South African piece, which I'll give you the name in a second of what the knife's called. How about the Kershaw M390 in carbon fiber, a really great piece. I have yet to even really beat this knife up because that's what I'm going to be doing probably this 4th. Do some more spring cleaning and stuff. Kind of late on that. And to finish it all off, the last knife for the size comparison, so you can really see. Almost forgot that was a spring assist knife. I was wondering why it's not closing. So you guys can really see the actual size of this beautiful South African piece. Here it is up against the Sebenza 21. So to conclude, you've got a large knife and you've got a small knife, and this piece falls right in the middle. So this is a medium-sized piece. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the knife itself. by doing the stats first. Since I did the size comparisons, I don't want to waste any more time. Kind of want to make this a very efficient video rather than a rambling one. So here we go. The stats come straight from the Blade Gallery, where I picked this beautiful piece up today. So the blade length is 3.2. I have a ruler. 3.2. So, yeah, there you go. Blade length from the tip. That is 3.2 inches in length. The cutting edge of the knife. Let's put that ruler back over there. So the cutting edge would be from the tip over here all the way to the back of the knife, which would be the cutting edge from there. So that would be, yeah, 3.1 inches overall. The total length of the knife, keep putting the thing back, the whole length from the top of the knife all the way to the back of the knife is 7.5 inches, and that is pretty much accurate right there. 7.5, excuse me, inches. The blade length at the heel is 1.4 inches. The blade thickness by the bolster, which is over here by the jimping, is 0.12, and then midpoint it goes down to 0.10, and then at the tip of the knife it starts to get really kind of thin out and go all the way down to 0.3 inches. The weight of the knife is 3.2. So this is not a heavy knife, obviously, because the carbon fiber that surrounds the blue titanium liners. So makes it a very nice and nice weighted piece. Not too heavy, not too light, just absolutely perfect. So let's talk about this knife for a quick minute. So a lot of knife companies like Zero Tolerance and Zero Tolerance and Spyderco, they go through a lot of collaborations between the company and the knife designer, creating a very interesting piece to present to the public as a very good cutting tool. Companies are famous for that, to bring new and inventive designs. The custom world is no different, except that the collaborations are not being done by a big company and one guy. Basically, the collaborations in the custom world is done one-on-one. So in this case, we're looking at two separate knife makers. The two knife makers that are involved in making this beautiful artwork is Andre Van Heerden and the legendary knife maker Andre Thorburn. Both these guys have made knives in their own right, and they have come together to create this beautiful piece. This is a front flipper piece. So let's go ahead and describe the knife now. So this is a front flipper knife where the front flipper is at the top of the piece rather than on the side. The point of that is when you go to get your knife, maybe go get your keys, and you go down to reach down to go get your keys, you're not getting that pecker on your hand. Basically, you can just slide down, get whatever stuff you need to get out of your pocket, get out, and there's no interruption, making it really very nice. So they put the flipper on the top. The flipper is accessed most of the time with the thumb, but you can also use your finger. The difference being is that if you use your thumb, you can actually kind of open it slowly, which you cannot do with your index finger, by the way. So the overall look of the knife is absolutely spectacular. I think it is a very, very sleek look, a very slender look, a very elegant look, specifically with the materials that make up the knife. We've got lightning strike carbon fiber on the knife. You've got a zirconium pivot. You've got blue titanium liners. on that knife. Absolutely beautiful. You have a 3D milled pocket clip on the knife, and that has got really good tightness there. Get a lot of good use out of that with the blue titanium liners, and it also has a black G10 backspacer. Just an elegant piece overall. The knife sports Nitro 77 steel. I'm going to do some paper cuts on this next time when I do the overall view of the knife. Impressions. This is just a first impressions video. So the steel is made with Nitro 77, which is a very, very rare steel. Even in South Africa, where the steel is being used, not in abundance, but it's being used quite often by certain knife makers that know how to treat the steel in order to get the correct effect, to get it as sharp as you can. In other words, what I'm saying is that if you are a knife maker and you choose to work with this Nitro 77 steel, you're going to want to know how to treat it in order to get the super sharp edge that you're looking for. So basically, the steel goes through a very extensive heat treatment, and then once it is heat treated, it is then dipped in liquid nitrogen for strength. The steel then makes that particular steel stainless now. So basically, it is a steel where if you are a knife maker, you have to know what you're doing. The master of the heat treatment on steel like this is Des Horn. He is absolutely brilliant at it. Yeah, I mean, basically what that means is, and I've actually owned a Des Horn knife. I have cut dozens of boxes with his knife that sports the Nitro 77, and I've had it for roughly a year now, and the blade still looks like this. I kind of wish I brought that out, but I didn't. But the blade looks as clean as this. It's almost as if, though, it doesn't seem to wear once it goes through that heat treatment / cryogenic dip into the liquid nitrogen. It just doesn't seem to wear out, and it holds an amazing edge. So it's an absolutely incredible knife. So let's talk about the two knife makers that made this piece. So the two people that made this knife is Andre Van Heerden and Andre Thorburn. So the idea behind a collaborative knife is that you're seeing the influence of both knife makers in one knife. So just to give you an idea, so you can see the influences, this is the Andre Thorburn. In other words, his knife that he created by himself. Nobody collaborated with him on this. This is the Andre Thorburn L Compact 51 not front flipper, but L51 flipper. You can see that the knife is almost, they're the same size, right? But there's slight differences as far as the look of the knife. But you can still see the sleekness is exactly the same. So you can see Andre Thorburn's influence in this knife, right? So let's go ahead and bring out the Andre Van Heerden knife so you can take a look at that, because his knife looks completely different. And you can see the maker's marks on all these knives. There's the Andre Thorburn's maker mark on there. And this is Andre Van Heerden's maker mark on this knife, right? And then if you take a look at the collaborative piece, they put the A2 on there representing both of them on the knife. So absolutely. But again, getting back to the style of the knife and their influence, as you can see, the sleekness of the knife belongs to Andre Thorburn here, right? But then the shaping of the knife, I can kind of see Andre Van Heerden's influence on this. If you notice on his knife, he's got these sort of like this finger groove, this predominant finger groove on there. And then on this knife, because Andre Thorburn's knife also has those hand grooves for the fingers where your fingers fit, because of Andre Van Heerden, they kind of settled that out now. So it's kind of gone a little bit, but it's still there. The finger, like the finger where your fingers go. It's still there, but it's not as dominant as it is in both knives. It's almost like they took the style of both these two knives from both these two knife makers to create this knife here. I'm just saying, because, you know, this one is very dominant. Here it's also very dominant, but then on this it's kind of settled out a little bit to create, making it a little bit sleeker. So you can see that the pivot on both these knives are exactly the same, but the material is different. That probably came from Thorburn. I mean, if you look at the pivot there, you can see that Andre van Heerden is very famous for putting like little collars around the pivots. And on this knife, there's a collar around the pivot. But then you look at the Andre Thorburn, and there's none. It's just a pivot. And that's just basically their style, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put these two knives away. So we've got two knives together, creating one, kind of. In other words, style. I just wanted you to see some of the features on both of these alone knives so you can see how this piece was actually created and where their influences kind of lie on both knives. I could be wrong, but I mean, when I look at the knife, that's what I see. Again, everything I say in my videos is just basically my opinion. And that's basically it. So, I mean, and again, I wanted to show you this as well, so you can see. So, on the Andre van Heerden knife, he is a big fan of zirconium on there. You got the zirconium pocket clip. Here, the zirconium is now the pivot. So, I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But there has to be a melding of the two knife makers in some way, where there is a little bit of me and a little bit of you, and then we'll make a knife kind of thing. So, continuing on with the knife itself, the knife sports a double row ball bearing system. The ball bearing system inserted in this knife is called the Ikoma Korth ball bearing system, which is a ball bearing system invented by a Japanese gentleman. His name is obviously Ikoma. His first name I cannot recall. I'm sorry about that. But he is the inventor of the Ikoma Korth ball bearing system. And basically the difference between a Ikoma Korth ball bearing system and a caged ball bearing system, as you see here in the Zero Tolerance 0562 and many of the production knives that are out there, the huge difference is quite simple. In the production knives, they usually use what's called, actually in the case of Kershaw, they use the KVT ball bearing system, which stands for Kershaw Velocity Technology. That's what they call it. It's really a caged ball bearing system, which basically means that they take between 8 to 12 ball bearings and they insert them inside of a disc where the ball bearings are actually separated by each other. Usually inserted, there's usually a hole for each of the separate ball bearings to go in, and when you flip the knife, what's happening is when you flip the knife in the caged ball bearing system, what you're getting is the effect of the ball bearings rolling inside this inside the cage, basically. Inside the caged disc, so it's rolling this way. As opposed to the Ikoma Korth ball bearing system, you're going to be getting a much more smoother effect because the ball bearings are not housed in a casing like they are in a caged ball bearing system. There's basically, in many cases, there's a trench inside the knife with about 8 to 12 ball bearings in them, and instead of the ball bearings rolling around in a casing, they're rolling and rubbing up against each other, giving you that really super smooth action. However, when it comes to this knife, they went 2 steps further on this knife with the smoothness. And I'll explain how. Basically, with this knife, they decided to use ceramic ball bearings as opposed to tool steel ball bearings. The difference between tool steel ball bearings and ceramic ball bearings is that in tool steel bearings require oiling. You have to oil tool steel bearings because steel produces friction, which produces heat, which needs oil to cool the ball bearings down, because if you don't have oil, what's going to happen is you're going to get shoddy action after a while, if they're not oiled every once in a while. It doesn't take a lot of oil, but you're going to need oil to prevent that friction and that heat from happening and getting that shoddy action. By the way, I actually replaced the ball bearing system in my 0562 with a with the ceramic caged ball bearing system, and now it's even smoother than the original zero tolerance knife, which uses a plastic casing and tool steel bearings. So back to this knife. So yeah. They've used ceramic ball bearings in the knife, which means that you never have to oil the knife. Basically, they can run dry forever, and you're going to get that beautiful, smooth, nice action all the time, every time. Never going to fail. But they went even a step further than that because they used 2 rows of ceramic ball bearings in this knife for double smoothness. And it is. I mean, you can tell the double smoothness on there. I mean, this thing would actually fall shut, right, if the blade were a little bit larger. I wouldn't even have to shake it close. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane with the smoothness. So yeah, so the ball bearing system in here is quite elegant. It is pretty much considered a Rolls Royce, right? Rolls Royce as far as action goes on the action with the ball bearing system in this. The knife is just dead centered all the time. Also, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the centering on this. I have yet to see a custom knife where the centering was way off. I mean, it just doesn't happen. It's got a 3D milled pocket clip on there. I don't think the pocket clip is really the right color choice for this knife. I think it's a little off. I mean, it works, but I don't think it's the right style of a pocket clip as far as color goes. I do like the 3D milling on that. That is very, very nice. It's got really good tightness on it. I just think they should have used maybe a black titanium pocket clip or maybe a zirconium pocket clip. I think that probably would have been fantastic on the, like, because they've used zirconium as a pocket clip, like right here on the Van Heerden piece. So, yeah, I mean, they could have done the same thing with this one, but they didn't do that, which isn't really it's not a deal killer for me, but, So, all in all, this overall view of this knife is just absolutely incredible. The materials that they've chosen to make the knife, the style of the two knife makers coming together definitely does work, in my opinion. I can certainly see their influence in this knife. A little bit of me, a little bit of you thing. I think it works. I do like it. They've basically taken some items from this knife and some items from this knife, and they've kind of settled them down, maybe kind of fine-tuned them. I can see maybe, I don't see like two guys duking it out and punching each other. No, we're going to have defined finger grooves on this knife. I actually see these guys actually working together in harmony to create such a beautiful work of art. So, I mean, I am just absolutely happy owning my very first A2 knife. There is a line of A2 knives, by the way, guys. This is not the only one. They've done a ton of A2 knives together, and you could go on and on and on trying to find the difference between the two, the way they build knives by themselves and then the way they make their knives, together. This is another Andre Van Heerden piece that I have. And this is an even better way where you can see their influence. Take a look at that, guys. So this is the Andre Van Heerden M38 Flipper. It's huge. This is a big freaking knife, man. I think I carried, and I mean, I use this knife quite often, but I don't think I've actually carried it all that much. I've used it quite a bit around the house, though. But this guy is just absolutely big. Very smooth knife all the way. But anyway, back to my conversation here. Let's take a look at the shape of the liners on these. It's the same exact one. Look, over here on the side, and look at this knife here. You can tell that is Andre Van Heerden doing that, because this is his alone knife, guys. He just decided to make, with this piece, he decided to make a good custom knife. Overall, as far as fit, finish, quality, all of that. Tapering it down on the materials being used on the knife. Basically, there's only 2 materials on this knife. And we're looking at basically G10, right? and titanium pot clip, which, by the way, was not originally blue. It was originally silver. I had a friend of mine, Troy. You could check him out on Instagram, by the way, Troy777. He anodizes knives. That's what he does. And I asked him to anodize my pocket clip on my M38 Flipper, and he did that for me because I wanted to match the liners. But getting back to the liner shapes, I mean, if you look at these two, look, they're exactly the same. So you know that that's Andre Van Heerden's influence on the A2 knife, not Andre Thorburn. So, yeah, I mean, collaboration knives, they're kind of fun. You can actually, especially if you own custom knives that the other guys have done by themselves, you can kind of see the difference in how these knives are made. You can kind of see who made what and how what was done. I'm kind of guessing that a dual row ball bearing system was done. I guess kind of I'm making this up. All right, this is probably complete bullshit. I don't know, but you know, they use the dual row ball bearing system because it's an A2 knife and there's two guys making the knife. That's what I'm just saying. It just seems kind of nice to be that way. Okay, one row ball bearings for you, another one for me. You know, that's just my opinion. The front flipper, I wish I brought out my front flipper from Andre Thorburn. In fact, if you guys will hang on for a second, this video is running long, I know. I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, so here is Andre Thorburn's front flipper. Take a look at that. You can see the influence on it. You can tell who made the front flipper, right? So it's kind of rounded at the top on this one. Probably Andre Van Heerden's influence on that. But it's definitely got the height of this L38 front flipper made by Andre Thorburn by his lonesome. So I have done videos on all these knives, so if you want to check that out, you can go check my channel out. So there you go. So before I close, I'm pretty much done with this overall view. I've let it go on for about a half hour, so I do apologize for that. Let's go ahead and just take one quick look at the knife. All right. With the Lightning Strike carbon fiber, the zirconium pocket clip. Okay, the blue titanium liners and 3D milled pocket clip. The dual row ball bearing system. With the drop point blade, I forgot to mention it's got a nice drop point blade on it. A nice choice. It's always a safe choice to have a drop point blade. You've got enough belly and enough cutting edge on there for that. Also love the swedge on the blade there. That's kind of nice. So, yeah, this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. I do apologize the videos ran long, but I wanted you to see the efforts of two knife makers coming together to create art in harmony. With the A9 front flipper, with Nitrobe 77 steel, and Lightning Strike carbon fiber, along with a dual row ball bearing action piece. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off. Hoping you guys are going to enjoy your 4th of July. If you ever get around to it, yeah, definitely make your comments on my channel. I do appreciate the comments. I do hope to have more comments. I've got more videos coming. I've got another special knife coming on July 13. By my all-time favorite knife maker, Des Horn. Really can't wait to get that piece. That is a very, very special knife, guys. I'll tell you why it's special. It's a coronavirus-themed knife. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to get my hands on it. I can't wait to show you guys that. In the beginning of the video, I don't think I mentioned why I'm wearing gloves. But where I work, we are all becoming hand-washing freaks, followed by the hand sterilization, and then to keep the skin from drying out, we put on the hand lotion. So it's wash the hell out of your hands, put the hand sanitizer on it, and then put lotion on it and start the cycle all day long. And what happens is my hands start to crack and bleed and cut. So I didn't want you guys to look at that and go, oh my God, the guy's hands are kind of scummy. You know, that's pretty disgusting. So I thought I'd just wear gloves to keep that keep the attention and the focus on these beautiful knives, which is what I wanted to do. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, and I actually cut the rubber glove when I was working on the knife, so there's like a hole there, so I just taped it up with some duct tape. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off with the A2 knife by Andre Van Heerden and Andre Thorburn. And I do hope you guys, continue watching. I got 200 subscribers now. I'm super excited about that. There's going to be a change in scenery. I think I've mentioned that. I got a bunch of different mats to kind of dress up the set. They were not that expensive. I think they were like anywhere between $12 to like $15 each. The challenge with getting the mats is finding them. I have yet to do a video on all those knife mats, by the way. But this is one that I actually did do a video on, so you're going to want to check that out. So again, this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. Hope you guys are going to enjoy tomorrow's holiday, July 4th, celebrating America's birthday. I do hope you will find one of these beautiful works of art in your collection someday, just like I did. And please do keep in mind that these knives are incredibly, incredibly, incredibly expensive. But if you want to get into this hobby, I mean, work real hard, save your money, and get these knives, man, and just enjoy the hell out of them. Thank you so much for watching. This is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. You guys stay safe out there for this 4th of July. And again, thanks for watching.